Croeso Sianel Blaid Llwyd. It's been a while, hasn't it? But we're finally back at the Minotaur Hotel. You can see what's going on with Asterion there. We're now into the new build, almost. This is actually 0.5 I'm playing, but we have a little bit of 0.4 just to finish off, because that was the one I kept meaning to fit in sometime and never did. So don't worry, I'll be seeing that, and then we'll pick up a little bit of the new update for this video, and we'll be carrying on the future with new videos. Interesting enough, for those of you who are playing Minotaur Hotel, this apparently does conclude the Ruthless route. And if you are able to play that route, let me know what happens. I'm curious, but I am absolutely appalling at playing nasty or evil characters in any kind of video game, so I have no idea what's going on with that. Anyways, having said that, let's pick things up where we left them last. Minotaur and Charon, ferryman of the dead, sailed down and across the river Styx. The journey was brief, but not unpleasant. Left and right the newly dead looked, to spires of raw rock jutting from the ground in shapes both familiar, temples, homes, palaces, and incomprehensible, edifices that defied geometry and logic. The world of the dead lacked sunlight, but so did its objects lack a shadow. Everything shone with a humble light coming from within. Even the Styx's waters glimmered. So clear were they, the Cretan prince could gaze into their depths, the restful sandbank peppered with gemstones and silver. Asterion hummed along with the ferryman's rowing. When a drop of boredom fell on his mind, he took to singing. First every song he was ever taught, then new ones that meandered along with the boat. He sang until the knot of his throat was undone, and then they arrived. Ahead was an empire of rock, gemstones and metal, which rose from the ground in the shape of a temple, with the grandeur of a palace. Smaller than the palace of Knossos, thought the Minotaur, ignoring his memories of the place came from the eyes of a child. Left and right were tall stone walls which had been carved down into bars. He could see the realm of Hades beyond, fields of crocus and grapes, pastures where tall horned goats and cows grazed. Guards of Hades approached with spears standing tall as if expecting a struggle, as the newly dead were not known for their compliance. For upon seeing his visage, they stopped where they stood. The hybrid prince bowed and spoke with a voice so clear, so song-like they felt as if an old friend and lord was addressing them. He asked for directions to his destiny, and they complied, pointed him to the palace where the dead were judged. They guided him for the first half, passing by the crowds of alien souls that were yet to accept their own passing, for it became clear this subject required no oversight. For the second half of the journey thus, they followed him instead and talked. They asked of Crete, cradle of civilization, and Asterion boasted about their fields of crocus and how they swayed in the wind. The prince asked about life in Hades, what trials does the Lord of Good Counsel see fit to impose on his subjects. Their response came in booming, fearless voices. If you deemed a hero as your visage would imply, then the fields of Elysium await you, where you'll find an existence lacking in tragedy. As for us, men of little glory, the asphodel meadows are where we make our home. Here we exist as if still alive, toiling but not suffering, enjoying neither privilege nor curse. My friend, your words are kind, and you need not flatter. My visage is as far from heroic as one can be, and I have lived without merit worthy of praise. Is that so? But make no mistake, I speak with no flattery. You bear a likeness most familiar of us, guards of Hades, albeit inverted. If your tongue is honest and you bear no glory worthy of praise, then I pray you consider my advice. One such as you would be a welcome addition to our ranks. Questions swam the prince's mind, so many yet only one could be picked at a time. As much as he wished to know of his future, the past still had an allure he could not resist. Friend, please speak without fear. What could you mean by my appearance being familiar? Could it be you have seen here folk like me, cursed with the likeness of a bull? Oh, not like you, but among the elite of Hades you'll find bull-eyed men from the Cretan lineage. Their voices meander just as much as yours. Their greatness is well known and unmatched. That is why I cannot believe you are a humble, mediocre soul. Greatness flows in your blood just as much as it falls on your horns. They came upon a hall as tall as the Palace of Knossos, polished stone from top to bottom with gemstones encrusted where they were birthed. At the end of the hall stood 3 podiums, each with a judge, bull-eyed men with a tan skin and garments so familiar to the Cretan prince. With his step-wide shoulders standing proud, the Minotaur met his fate head first. The Minotaur dreams, snapshots around him, shifting back and forth. Sun beating on his back. Fur was always damp from wearing hoodies, a stream of sweat running down his brow. Dry clay caked the fabric. He smelled sour. Soft cloth over his blossoming horns, some shade over his eyes, tail tucked inside his shorts. Then torn hoodies when his horns couldn't be hidden anymore. Bruises before class hidden underneath black fur. Then an hour or 2 of numbers. Cold, gentle little blocks. He was holding a pencil now, no more than an inch long after being used to its end. He wrote the numbers down with love, each 7 crossed over in the middle, symmetrical rows of 6s and 9s, a perfect curve for each 2. It took him a while, but he mastered the 8. The 2 bubbles had to be mirrored, then class was over. Years later, syntax and grammar, verbs, adjectives, nouns. Approach the delicate women, the teacher said. Cross the unwearying sea. Sentences stretching on, neat little bricks. Hollow-hooved bull, he said. Snickers. The boy disliked these words. Then came interpretations, text. He liked the stories, but the rules of his mind were different from those the books held dear. History and geography were puzzling. Too soft and pliable, they escaped through his fingers. Philosophy was fine so long as it was close to mathematics, but biology was an insult. Bruises after failing biology, punished for punching back, made to wear corks at school. Stopped school but kept the numbers and all the little bricks he could carry. Walk into the store with Mom. Men sneer and spit insults at them, pretends he doesn't know what zoophile means. She pulls his arm. Maybe this time she'll dislocate it. She never said who his father is. Maybe she doesn't know, but he's human, she assures him between drags of cigarette smoke. There is a kindness in family. They are the only people who see fit to ignore him. That's not enough. Ran away, spent a while in the wilderness, then the city, looked for a job, returned home. Tried again, this time stored enough money to get a bus to someplace farther away. Slept under a bridge, always during the day. Night hides his horns and muzzle. The aisle empties when he goes to the store. He's asked to leave the burger joint with a note on the bag to not eat in. Good enough for his stolen money, but not for his presence. Fail. Try again. Fail worse. Go home. Oh, howdy there. Did I disturb you? Even before his consciousness awakens, the Minotaur has already planted his hooves on the soil and pushed himself deeper into the alcove. His ears flicker. Eyes leap around till they focus on the man blocking the sun. Doesn't catch any features. And, in fact, an itch at the back of his head makes it impossible to tell what he's looking at. Words cross his mind. His lips tighten. Is the man talking to him, or is there someone else just out of sight? Maybe, the Minotaur thinks, he hasn't seen me. He parts his lips and draws a breath, slow through his teeth, to not make a sound. I came at a bad time, didn't I? I'm awfully sorry to bother you. But I was passing by, came down here to sort a personal issue, and a family friend made it the point that I should meet you. The man takes a notepad from his back pocket. Each page strip is accompanied by a crisp ruffling of paper. He scans it before going on. Again, sorry to bother, and I know what I'm about to say will sound strange, but would you happen to own or live in a hotel?
Excuse me? That's an awfully dumb question, alright. Yeah, I think I'd be sleeping here if I owned an hotel.
Yes, forgive me, I had to make sure, but can't leave any stone unturned. The man gives his notepad another once over, followed by a sigh as he runs a hand through his hair, slicking it back. When I was passing through the village, I was told you were looking for a job. I happen to need some help and can make it worth your while. The Minotaur grinds his teeth while searching for malice in the stranger's voice. Every word dissected, every movement judged.
You must have got the wrong guy.
The stranger shifts his weight on his legs. Perhaps he frowns, but the Minotaur can't tell for sure. It's like there is a gaping hole where the man's face should be. No, I'm sure exactly who I'm looking for. I was told I could find a... There it is. That same thing in all men and women. The Minotaur tightens his fists and lets his head droop a tad lower, pointing his horns towards the man.
A what?
A kindred spirit, someone who can appreciate my situation. Birds of a feather flock together and all that. The itch at the back of his mind grows maddening. The man's voice sounds choppy, or perhaps the Minotaur's ears are failing him. Let me cut to the chase. It'll all make a lot more sense if I just show you. The man takes a booklet from his pocket, opens it and swipes a finger on a page. The itch at the back of the Minotaur's mind dies down, but in turn his vision starts to feel wrong. He keeps staring at the man's blurred and readable features. For a moment they even seem... Yeah, all better now. The sun disappears behind the horizon, and at last the Minotaur can see the creature's face. His heart skips a beat as he leaps upright.
What the fuck are you?
A man. Oh, so it seemed to most, but in truth I am like you, just different here and there. People just call me P, so pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr... Dream, the Minotaur thinks. This has to be a dream. He draws a breath that sticks in his throat. Bile and fire bubble to the top of his stomach. Well, doesn't matter for now. Now that you can see me for what I am, let me explain my situation. I'm here in the hinterlands to deal with a certain family matter. My grandfather, God rest his soul, spent a good deal of his life chasing after a very special place. He called it the Minotaur Hotel. It's supposed to be around this area, but he could never find it. And yes, as you can see, I'm not really human, am I? Neither is my grandpa, of course. Chances are this hotel I'm looking for is quite peculiar, too. So I want to prove my dear old man right, and as luck would have it, I heard a story about a Minotaur, of all things, here in the valley. That can't be a coincidence, right? So I came here to see with my own eyes, and sure enough, you look like the real thing. Let me tell you, finding you was no easy task. The closer I got to this pond, the less sense the roads made. There's something fishy going on here. If you have no information about the Minotaur's Hotel, I still have a job for you. I just cannot believe this is a coincidence. Why, a part of me wants to believe the fates conspired to set this in motion. So I want to hire you. I believe you might be able to help me find what I'm looking for. Sound good to you? The last lingering remnants of sleep flee the Minotaur's mind. His hooves scrabble on the dry clay and his teeth grind together as his heart burns. I was in a dream, I must be cursed or going mad. Or was this a monster trying to trick me?
Oh, I don't know, it's ain't some kind of trick. That you are a devil or something.
Devil? Now that's... Have you ever seen one before? He hasn't. Never in all his years has he witnessed anything that, without a shadow of doubt, broke the veil of a mundane life. But he's heard the stories.
There's a lot of weird things here. You never know.
I see. Well, I can tell you I'm not a devil, but I won't be able to give you much proof of it. I mean, how can someone prove he isn't a devil? I wouldn't know a test to verify it. That said, since you don't seem convinced, I can sweeten our deal a bit. You saw my trick, right? My very own human disguise with which no one can see what I really am. It's all thanks to this little booklet here, what we call a charm. It sure is difficult not being a human, isn't it? Doubly so when you have no way of blending in. Judging from what I heard about you in the village, it seems you never had one of these. On any other night, saying such things the Minotaur would spark a fight, especially when spoken in the peacock's tone of blithe condescension. But not here, not now. The Minotaur gazes at the booklet, and despite the haze of his fear, visions overtake him. He's become a man. As soon as the words pierce his thoughts, everything comes unlatched. Dreams spring forth, a fountain of possibilities he had sealed in a vase and refused to think about. Wicked and it is, I'm sorry to say that taking mine won't do you any good. For the most part, they only work for the person they are made for. But that's no issue at all. I can make one for you right here and now. And with that, the Minotaur realizes just why people sell their souls. You're speaking more and more like a devil, you know that. A stranger comes up, you ain't even human, now you're talking about this weird stuff. Oh, if I ain't dreaming, then you must be a devil, that's clear as day. Not a dream, no sir, not a devil either, that's far too Christian for my tastes. I'm much more of a, shall we say, old-fashioned kind of guy, much like you, I imagine. Although, I suppose what I have to say won't do much good for my cause. Oh, what do you mean? How to put this? Let me speak frankly. I want something from you. I'm willing to pay for your time. That said, the situation you're in, it's wrong. People like us aren't supposed to walk around showing our true selves. That's the law and we can be punished for it. You're lucky in a way. This place is such a hellhole that gossip about you never travelled too far. Or perhaps it's bad luck since you got in hell long ago if you lived somewhere decent. Well, I can make a charm for you right here and now. By the end of this night you'll have your very own human disguise. All I want is you consider taking my offer. I'll pay you to help me find this place, the Minotaur Hotel. It shouldn't take long. I'll be here for 2 weeks at most. And sweeten up even further, while we're working together, I'll teach you everything there is to know about, well, not being human. Do we have a deal? Sounds leap from across the pond, grasshoppers and cicadas singing, birds letting out distant cries while returning to their nests. Ripples emerge from the centre of the pond itself, to dance upon its otherwise placid surface. The concentric waves laze their way to the shore, displacing thin clouds of sediment with their motion. The splashing sound like a distant sea inside one's own head. The Minotaur draws a breath and hunches over. Hummingbirds peck at the back of his head, raising each fur strand one at a time. It's like a dream of stitched-together visions, going to the grocery store in the village where all the products have a thin coating of road dust, where people perk their ears to catch his hoof steps. The unending humiliation that comes with purchasing something as simple as a candy bar. Gritting his teeth against their stares, ignoring their disgust of him as if he bore some terrible deformity. Being ignored in turn. Best not to interact with the cursed. His mind goes back to when he was younger, when he'd wear hoodies to cover up his face, panic when his horns got too wide to be hidden away. The hummingbirds dig their beaks into his skin as yet more visions rise. Being out on the streets like any other assuming passerby. Out and about, without hiding away from fear and hatred. Those who once stared at him now unaware of his identity. He can make a new name for himself, born anew. This is his salvation. And this man, he must be a demon, there must be a catch. Then again, he's damned already. He wasn't fated for hell from the day he was born, and circumstances sure had left him with no other choice. Any price is worth it to be a human, even his soul. You don't have to lie. None of this can be true, and if it is, I know you must want something more. Oh, I'm still not convinced you're the devil, sir, or if there's something else you're after. But even if you are, and you intend on taking my soul, consider this deal taken. I'll do the job wherever else you ask of me. Just make me into human, no matter the cost. You're funny, kid. Very well, our pact is sealed. Let's not waste any time, eh? Tell me, what's the water like in the pond over there? Oh, salty and dead. Nothing grows there. You better not drink it. That won't do then. We need a proper place to do it. I believe I saw a crossroads on my way here. The charm will be stronger if we craft it there. Let's go. And start collecting dry wood on the way. We'll need to make a bonfire. Before we proceed, I'm afraid I didn't catch your name. As I said, you can call me P. P, is that really a name? My family has some peculiar traditions. My dad, grandpa, all the men share a very complicated name. Everyone I know just calls me P. It's easier. The Minotaur can't help but feel excitement stampeding in his chest. For a moment he allows himself to fall into the fancy of performing a mysterious ritual with this inscrutable man. His chest swells as he recalls the nickname he was proud of, and how powerful he felt when people spoke it.
Then you can call me Storm. It's what people used to call me.
Storm, very well. Nice to make your acquaintance. Now, before we start, would you mind telling me a bit about yourself? The full stampede in his chest grows still and hides in the tall grass. His lips are stretched taut. Storm snorts and looks away. P doesn't even raise an eyebrow. He picks the lad apart, clothes, accent, emotions, in search of a salient point he can exploit. Something vulnerable, but not so sore as to elicit a hostile reaction. You are from around here, right? A harmless enough question for the moody young man, better than asking about his clothes.
I born and raised here in the hinterlands.
P remains quiet. Silence breeds discomfort which the unwary often fill. The Minotaur's heart must be skipping a beat. Perhaps he feels small and vulnerable against the peacock. He snorts, then speaks.
My family are from up north, near the coast.
I see, it's a rough place, isn't it?
Oh, no rougher than this hellhole. Good for fishing, though. Damn cold waters and windy as a tornado.
The peacock's voice comes out monotone, as if he's responding to something the Minotaur revealed without knowing. Yes. A shiver runs up the Minotaur's spine as he feels watched by a dozen pairs of eyes. He looks around but finds no one else there with him. Do you come from a family of fishermen? The fear of being watched loosens the Minotaur's lips.
Kinda. My grandpa and mom's side is one.
He looks back again and nothing.
My brother's father's a fisherman too.
The peacock's gaze grows harsher. How many brothers do you have?
6. No sisters. I'm the youngest. Mom didn't want any more kids after me.
I see, so you're the 7th. Petulance returns to the Minotaur.
Is that matter for something?
I'm not sure, there's a local legend. The 7th son of the 7th son is born, special, shall we say. The folklore says he'll be a werewolf. Any chance your father might have been a 7th son as well?
I'm afraid I can't answer that question. Never met him.
I see.
Mom always said he was a man.
Puzzle pieces drift in the peacock's mind. He speaks out, realizing that he wishes to crack the lad to pieces into every bit of his past. Thought of finding the hotel gives way to the fascination of investigating. Maybe he was, yes.
What's that supposed to mean?
He might have been human, yes, and you might just happen to be born a Minotaur due to a freak event of nature. It's rare, but it can happen. Or he might have been someone like me, carrying a charm to be a human. Maybe your daddy's waiting for you at that Minotaur's Hotel I'm looking for. The peacock hopes the Minotaur will take the bait. His face remains as hard to read as ever.
Oh, fuck off with that. Well, answer me this one question, city guy. If there was another fucking Minotaur around these parts, don't you think everyone would know about it? Look, it might sound idiotic, but maybe your granddad was bullshitting. There is no Minotaur Hotel, whatever.
Well then, does that mean you're rejecting my offer? Then fuck right off. Not so tough now, huh? Look, I said I'd make it worth your while. You'll get paid no matter what, even if this hotel doesn't even exist. You'll get your damn charm tonight and your money while you're done, but now let's be honest here for a minute. You see, kid, assuming for a moment your daddy is someone like me, you and me, I'm doing what he should have done 20 years ago. So here are your options. You can stay here, behave, and I'll teach you all about how to pass off as a human. Or you can leave and go back to being homeless. A flash of clarity cuts through the Minotaur's mind as the pecking order is established. Would he grovel and beg? He would, without a second thought.
Oh, teach me, I want to be human.
That's better, lad. First off, we can't become human. At most we can pass off as one. That's the first thing, just so you don't set your expectations too high.
Oh, there's a difference.
Well, you'll still be, well, you, but others won't notice it. It's exclusively a perception thing. You're carrying a charm around that makes everyone else think you're a human.
Well, if they touch me, will they figure it out?
It depends. If your charm is really, really good, they won't find anything wrong. You'll feel just like a regular person. That level of quality is usually so expensive, you'll have to spend a lifetime working to pay for it. Or you can work a government job, that'll get you some of the good stuff. Most people can't exactly do that, though, so we settle on something more accessible. Nowadays, you can get a good enough effect with a passport.
A passport? Is that a fucking joke?
No, it's exactly what it sounds like. You get a passport done. It has to be one of those e-passports with a little chip inside it, and they make the chip into the charm. So as long as you always carry a passport with you, that's it.
You gotta be kidding me. All this time I could have just carried a passport?
All the humiliation of a lifetime, a freak in school or wretched home, an abomination in the streets, all of it could have been avoided. If only he had a booklet. It's nothing short of an insult. I'm sorry, I can't imagine what you've been through.
No, you can't.
The peacock braces another outburst, but the boy breathes in, grits his teeth, shakes, and breathes out.
So, just walking why do I get a passport then? Just walk in and ask for it?
Well, yes, in theory, but it's illegal for us to walk around with that charm in the first place. You get arrested.
How do I? Well, if the passport is the charm, I can't get the passport without a charm.
Yes, quite the catch-22, But don't worry, kid. We're going to fix it tonight, right here. They're also homemade charms. They're not nearly as good as the passport, but hey, it'll do the job.
And how good is it? What's the catch? There must be one. I'm not stupid.
Catch is that low-quality charms have side effects. The specifics depend on how it is created, what process was used. More often than not, they'll make it hard for people to remember you. Mind you, the passports usually have this problem too. It's really bad with the homemade ones.
Well, people just forget I ever existed.
I know, it's more like with a homemade charm, people who meet you while you're in disguise will forget they ever saw you after about an hour or two. Makes it real hard to keep a job, or to make friends, date.
No.
No?
That's not a bad thing. It sounds great. I've been treated like shit my whole life. I can't buy groceries without people looking at me like I'm diseased or something. I've been remembered my entire life and I hate it. I hate this. Being forgotten sounds like the best thing in the world to me. Don't care what it costs, I'd kill for that. Let's do it. Make me the charm, please.
Good, then I'll explain the process. There are many ways one can go about making a charm. In ancient Greece and Rome, it involved sacrificing an animal to the gods to imbue its bones with magical properties. The Christians didn't appreciate these pagan rituals. Instead, they made a sacrament through which crosses became charms. Just a century ago, you'd need a priest to have a charm made. However, times have changed and now it's all a matter of the state. If you know what to look for, you can get a government-issued charm. That usually requires having one with you already, at least so you can collect it discreetly. So each method can be hard or easy to realise depending on our circumstances. Evidently we don't have cattle to sacrifice, and I doubt there's a priest nearby who knows the sacrament. There is the traditional Latin American way, however. It requires very little in terms of materials, and what it does I can readily provide. It'll take a while, and the charms it produces are quite particular, however, but that shouldn't be an issue. You'll have to follow my instructions too.
Just say what I've got to do. Whatever it is, I'll do it.
Good, it's simple really. We'll start a fire and then we'll each tell a story. We need to keep weaving more of them together and make your charm have lasting power. After we finish our stories, I'll give you a feather and you'll throw it into the fire, alongside whatever you want to be your charm. This is the Latin American way. We tell stories, weave them together into a contract. You'll make an oath with humanity itself, built as an extension of my own, which, it's enough preamble already, kid. You ready and on board with this so we can start?
Well, I'd be an idiot if I wasn't.
Glad to hear it, so. You have a firm handshake, kid.
Well, so do you, for a city boy.
Don't provoke me. I have no idea what this city boy is capable of.
Sure, then. Nice grip for an old man.
You really are a piece of shit, aren't you?
Yeah, get used to it. I know you need me to find you a hotel.
Okay, I'll let you win this one. Now, should we get started on the charm?
I thought you never ask.
The peacock knows that an oath is a tenuous thing, given power by the relation of one thing to another. A complete thought to its dependent clause, a subject to an object, a bird to a minotaur. What inconsequential fluff can he reel to connect with this storm? This boy holds a secret, his deepest wish under lock and key. An authoritative flick of a wing suffices to get the bull's attention, make the wheels in the pair's head screech to a grinding halt. Since you'll be working me, I'll begin with the one story you need to know. Where to start? You ever seen anything supernatural over here, Storm? The Minotaur looks away, to the roads beyond sight. That tells the peacock what he really wants to know.
Well, plenty of weird stuff happens here. I don't know if it's magic or what.
The peacock rolls his eyes. The brat tenses up as they're walking a tightrope and floundering for balance. In that moment he understands better than ever before what it is to be under a hierarchy. He knows he must take care not to offend his new benefactor or risk losing his chance at humanity. Whatever his feelings, he must agree to anything the peacock says. Yeah, this place is supposed to be the last hole where one can find magic in this side of the country. Radio, television, the internet, wherever those go, the weaker the magic becomes. We don't quite know why, but it is what it is. And this place, the hinterlands, by virtue of how big a shithole it is, kept itself free of all sorts of progress and basic civilization. Oh, sorry, I hope I didn't offend you, Fur.
Nah, I hate it here. People always treat me like shit. There's no jobs except for mining salt, and they wouldn't take me even for that. Nothing to do, nothing to see, nothing worth saving in this hole.
The peacock smiles with the natural curvature of his beak. Storm's tacit admission stirs the breeze in his lungs, then emerges a billowing, prideful snort. I'm glad we agree with each other. Well, with that in mind, our story begins 80 or so years ago. I suppose in a night much like this when someone much like me, that's my grandfather, ran away from this place. He lived most of his life here, and I don't know the details, but things went south and he found himself having to run for his life. He ran as far as he could, then spent 3 days in the wilderness, hiding during the day and trekking towards the coastline during the night. On the fourth night he met a traveller who gave him food and water. Nice man, imagine. Sees someone running away and doesn't ask any questions, just offers help. Might have known he was better off not knowing. The one, however, knew how to read the stars and gave Grandpa a few words of advice. Go northwest, you'll be safe there. But Grandpa didn't follow his advice. He heard stampeding horses from that direction, so he went to the east, and there he found a bus station. It was the middle of the night and there was no one there. He checked the schedule, perhaps a bus would come, take him northwest. Not 5 minutes later, one showed up. The driver was a creature disguised as a human. He didn't speak Portuguese and his clothes had strange lettering. Grandpa boarded, they set off eastward and he was taken to a strange place they called the Minotaur Hotel. He told me it was created before the Tower of Babel was destroyed. The fragments of old human magic survived there, making it so all could understand each other regardless of language. The place was governed by a Minotaur who had the power to make diamonds appear in the palm of his hand. No one went hungry there, even the most wretched person could find a home and a job. As you can guess, something happened. Grandpa came back home all messed up one day and set off to find that hotel again. But he never did. Spent years searching, went back to his job, met his wife, had his kid, but never stopped going out for days at a time to try and find the place. Pa thinks he was crazy. This hotel never existed. Grandma's still around and still resents every night Grandpa spent on the search. So Gramps, it's been a few weeks since he passed on. I'd like to say he told me the story again on his deathbed and asked me to find it. That hotel. Now wouldn't that be grand? But that would be a lie. A sweet one, but a lie nonetheless. I wasn't there when he died, and by that time his mind had been gone for a long while. I'd like to think he felt some freedom when his time came. But I suppose one can never be freed without passing on a burden to another. Now that he's gone, that old wanderlust has taken me over. I want to find that hotel, clear my grandpa's name, prove he was right all along. A resolute look plays across the Avon's features. There's vulnerability in his speech has been thrice folded in a stash in the corner of his mind. Where he stands, Storm can't help but notice how put together and proper everything about the peacock is. Plus, there's something over there that's mine herons you could call it. I've been having dreams about this place ever since Gramps passed on. I'm sure everything he said was true. How's your turn? Tell me a story. The Minotaur's eyes grow as thin as knives.
Don't really have to.
No story, no charm, no human.
Well, if I come up with something, does it have to be true?
Sure, go ahead and waste our time. I'm not doing this again, however. The Minotaur looks away, this time towards the pond and his hole. He knows there's no choice. But he can't speak, not while the hummingbirds are pecking away the back of his head, raising each strand of fur. He scratches his neck with both hands, digging in to make the skin red raw. The peacock ignores it. His patience grows thin. Will you really force me to interrogate you, lad? The Minotaur shakes his head, trying to swat away all the critters flying around him. A grave moo escapes from his throat. How old are you?
21. Just give me a minute. I'm thinking, okay?
The peacock counts a second while the Minotaur loses sense of time. Keeps on scratching till whatever ailed him is gone. He draws a breath, shudders and speaks.
Mom said my father was a man. I didn't get to know him, but she always made it clear, so don't get the wrong idea.
Again, no waves of bull. That makes no sense. If he was someone like me, he'd have gotten you a charm. Unless something happened to him or he doesn't know you exist. The Minotaur doesn't like that sharpness in the bird's voice, shrill and teetering on the edge of anger. He breathes the first sigh of true relief in his life, knowing there's someone in this world who doesn't think he's the product of bestiality. Perhaps there's wetness in the Minotaur's eyes, glimmer in the fire. The sharp-eyed peacock mistakes it for something else. Sorry for interrupting. Continue.
Well, yeah, what was I saying?
You didn't know your dad. Mom raised you, I assume.
Yeah, raised me and my 6 siblings. I'm the youngest one, and well, she couldn't have any more after I got out.
Ruined is what she said. You ruined me. Not a drop of anger in her voice, although her face was covered in 2 decades' worth of humiliation. She blew smoke on his face, ground the cigarettes butt out in the plastic dining room table, then threw it in the empty fruit bowl. Just stating a plain fact, inescapable. He shouldn't have been born.
Never got along with her or any of my siblings for that matter. They blame me for stuff I didn't do.
Began simply enough, blaming him for breaking their 1 glass cup, the orange one that Ma used to drink coffee. He's 4 years old. Like an addiction, it took root and grew. If something went missing from the fridge, it was him. If any misfortune struck, as if his existence brought bad luck. He pointed his horns and refused to say his name. Just him, nameless. More of a concept than a person. Eyes wide open and mind silent, numb, as it kept on happening. Became their drug, the reason why they couldn't get jobs and had to live off of welfare. Being angry at him was enough to justify beating their girlfriends, or abandoning their kids and skipping town. Him. His name so unused it might as well not exist. Storm was a better title, and so the lad gathers the memories, the pains, the mind into itself.
Everyone thought things about my ma, but what she must have done to have a kid like me. Even looking at me made her angry. School treated me like shit too. So I dropped out and ran away. Thought I could make a living out there in the city or on a farm.
Didn't last long. The farm owner could appreciate his strength and hard work. The farmhands weren't too fond of sharing their quarters with him. Better to quit the job than get butchered halfway through the night, he thought. I came back. Couldn't get any luck. People here at least don't panic when they see me. Too out of their damn minds to care. Tried going back home to Ma. She let me in and then she waked me up that night to yell. Too out of her damn mind to know what she was doing. So I tried going out again. Didn't work either. Made it farther. The police started getting curious about the horned homeless man under the bridge. Well, that's why I live here by the pond. Well, it's safe. No one bothers me at night. I can get some gigs here and there to buy food. That's my story. Is that enough for your ritual? A shiver crawls up the peacock's back. The air around them grows sharper. A migraine slithers over his head and burrows itself into his left eye. His legs go numb, his brain finds itself forgetting words. Minotaur, meanwhile, looks away from the fire. The light sears his eyes. The hummingbirds peck his neck again while chanting cicadas take over his hearing. He's about to ask for help when, in a flash, it's all over. Yes, this is enough. Let's see now, a feather. Oh, this one's about to fall off. I'll say the oath now, just accept it. The peacock closes his eyes. His feathers stand on end as if a shiver runs up his spine. You are the salt of the earth, eternal and unrelenting. Why then should you not be our sibling? You are the night's moon, a city buried in ash. A secret written on your chest cannot be seen. You are the salt of the earth, and what is humanity without you? Hidden you shall not lose your worth. You'll not be trampled underfoot. You shall not die again. Blessed are you for when you become our sibling. By the gift of humanity none shall persecute you, neither will they accuse you of unsightly deeds. You are the light of the world, hidden from sight and shining regardless. They'll not see your origin, but will bask in your gift. You'll not be set apart, and glory will follow your footsteps. By salt and sea take my life thread, let us swear an oath of kinship. May humanity offer the bearer of this promise protection in its bosom, much like we have tonight swapped our long-lasting threats. You shall feast and live as one of our own, bearer of kinship, and for as long as you carry the proof of this oath, none shall see your myth. By salt and sea, by the western lands, untie my bundle of humanity, and stretch its thread to this one, so he may enjoy freedom no lesser than mine. Bearer of humanity, do you pledge this honest oath to mankind for as long as your chest draws breath? This must be a dream, thinks the Minotaur, or a demon at work. And just what could be the inevitable catch? A gift like this does not come without a gut-wrenching price. But none of it matters. Consequences be damned. He'll take it. I do. Throw the feathery object on the flame. My gift will burn, so yours shall not. The hybrid takes out his ear gauge, puts the feather through it, and pushes both into the fire. There, try it on. Welcome to your first night as a human, Storm. Chapter 14. A day at a time. Monday. Sunlight peeks out from the horizon and breaks into a sprint to touch the hotel's outer walls. The Minotaur sits on the sofa while checking the list of guests. He slides his hooves on the hardwood floor. He scratches his cheek, then looks off to the jelly-purple sky beyond the window. You prepare breakfast. The apartment has been taken over by the smell of coffee and dawn. While you peel the boiled eggs, he looks up to you. Gaze held, face motionless. Then return to his papers. I can feel we're going to have a great time today. We'll get a sizable batch of guests, I bet.
Oh, I must make sure the reception is always manned. They could arrive at any moment.
Want me to call Coach or look for it? Or I can do it myself too.
There is no need. I can manage it today.
Good. First thing they'll be met with is the Cretan Prince's magnanimous hospitality. Let them see the truth with their own eyes.
Oh, how kind of you to have such high hopes for this clumsy bull. Or if I didn't know any better, I would guess you're making a joke at my expense, my lord.
Not a joke, partner. Just the truth. They may not know you're the Minotaur, but if you ask me, I leave this place doubting that Athenian legend.
If only my story was as hopeful as you are.
Our stories are one and the same, buddy, so you better get used to some hope. We're in this together, right?
Asterion chuckles. Oh, I suppose I'm contractually obligated to agree with you.
I'll take it. Now come here, you clumsy bull. It's time for breakfast. While sharing a meal with the Minotaur, you continue going over all that needs to be done. Well, what do we have on our agenda today?
Well, nothing out of the ordinary.
Asterion takes a boiled egg, dabs it on the pile of salt on his plate and eats it whole.
So far your mandate has been very eventful, has it not? Every day something new, if not bickering guests and foreman this, internet that. But those days are meant to be the exception. Ever since the hotel was created, the life of a master has been very peaceful and contemplative. Very soon you'll see that even the Argos, whom you must think is a constant fixture of the realm, in truth is only a rare, if potentially brutal hindrance. It is the same every time. Along with a new master, a fresh foreman appears to stir trouble for a while. Similar to his predecessors, each one unique and peculiar in his own way. But they never stay for long. One day they all slither back into the recesses of the valley and disappear.
After that you'll find a solid routine. Day in, day out, business as usual. Huh. Wait, Argus will disappear? That is what has happened for many centuries now, yes. The Argos makes its appearance around the same time a new master takes over, as you've seen for yourself. Their interest lies in persuading the owner of the deed to act in certain ways, rather than harming me themselves. But, as I said, life here falls into a routine. I suppose they must tire of the same days in and out. One day, without fanfare, the Argos would slither back into the depths of the valley and disappear, until a new master inherited the deed. Sometimes I pity them. As much as they brought me trouble and grief, the existence of the Argos is a wretched and solitary one. Living alone in the valley, only to disappear and die alone, I presume. Or perhaps they do not die. The labyrinth is vast and beyond my comprehension. Who could say whether or not the Argos are in truth just a single one, eternally shedding his skin? The Minotaur breathes in and prepares to speak again, but his eyes fall on the armband peeking from your shirt sleeve. His ears flick once and then grow still as he ruminates and picks his words. But you should not worry about the Argos. It will not be for too much longer that he'll pose any threat. Ahead of you there's only your peaceful reign and gentle lordship, thoughtful, trusty, straight. Can't say I'd be opposed to that. Wasn't expecting any of this when I stumbled into owning a hotel. It is understandable. What did you expect, Master? Once more he looks at the armband on your bicep. Oh, forgive me. What did you expect when you came here, Leo? I expected the deed would be an old piece of scrap paper, nothing more. I couldn't believe I'd receive ownership of a hotel, or anything of the sort, just like that. But as surprised as it may have been, I can't say it was unwelcome. So you are enjoying your time here, I take it? I'd have left already if I wasn't. The company is good. Oh, I see. Your meal is brief. It's about time to start working. After washing the dishes, Asterion takes you to another room on the hotel's ground floor. Now that we have no pressing tasks hanging over our heads, allow me to introduce you to your office, Master. You mean our office, partner? Oh yes, pardon me. Our office, business partners. Together like horn and skull. The Minotaur's ears flick back and forth. He runs a finger over the back of his neck, tidying the fur even as it stands on end. With a shake of the head and a snort, he looks to the office. Here is where you'll plan ahead for the tasks each staff member will be assigned to for the day. You mean send them to explore the valley and work on contracts? Not exactly. Assembling exploration parties to the valley is unusual, but as long as they are cautious, and I'm not present among them, there shouldn't be much of an issue with it continuing to do so. As much as you may insist on elevating me to being your business partner, this call falls to you. It's your right and duty to manage the hotel's staff. You may assign them tasks or allow them some time off to enjoy themselves. Do keep in mind, however, that we all have a number of daily obligations. It's not every day we'll have time for exceptional tasks such as research or exploration. Reasonable. Well, time to get to work then. Indeed. I'm going out to the reception now, but... Before I go, how does your arm feel? Is the armband causing any discomfort? Oh, none at all. I can't even feel it most of the time. It's almost like it isn't there. I go so far as to say it's nearly incorporeal. I only ever remember it's there when I look in the mirror. Oh, that is a relief. It was never my intention to... Don't worry about it. This is nothing. You don't have to pretend, my lord. I mean, Leo. It was unbecoming of me to have proposed the idea, and far too proud of me to let you go on with it. No, there's no reason for that, Asterion. I'm telling you exactly how it is. This armband is nothing. Even if it was, it's the least I can do. Now let's get to work and have a nice day, shall we? You are a very peculiar master, Leo, but in no way unpleasant. I shall see you later then. See ya. We're just going to skip the tutorials here, because if you're playing it, it's actually worth going through these, and I have, but you don't really need to see all this right now. So we have a few different things we can do. Make sure he's wearing his wristbands. So, move Luke up there. So we have no exploration going on today. And with this, you can just play around with it as you go along when you're playing it yourself, if you haven't already. As you see, we can't do anything with Asterion Cota's next scenes in this build. Obviously in the future ones we'll fit them in sometime. I'll just give you a glimpse of what Luke's doing. While Cota and Luke are getting along a little better lately, Cota's insists on the Griffin not running his restaurant while the Dragon is busy helping the R&D team or exploring the valley. Luke has decided instead to hang around reception, greeting new guests and helping them with their luggage. That's where you find him today. He decided to spend some time with him. You know, despite our time together, I don't think I know all that much about you, Luke. What's your story? Ah, you finally want to get to know me better, partner? Thought you'd never ask. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. You know, it's this real private place I found where we can relax for a while. Yeah, top? Luke, this is terribly inappropriate. I know, just put it in your leg. I know be the brightest bulb, but I sure ain't dumb enough to shit where I eat. So you all know about little me. Guess I do have some stories to tell. I was born and raised on a tiny farm in the middle of Texas, partner. A little place called Elgin. I know I look good, but I'll have you know I'm quite a bit older. I was born in the 1920s. Like any good self-respecting American boy, I enlisted to fight in the Second World War. My brothers, I had many of them, went too. We had our adventures overseas, and as you can guess, all of us returned home. Can't say what each of my siblings thought, but, well, our pa fought in the First World War. Few of them expected all of us to remain in the military, make a tradition out of it. But me, I couldn't bring myself to go back to fighting. Got a lot of shit for that. So many family arguments. Things settled down after a few years. Everyone got sick of arguing. Meanwhile, I kept myself busy. Made a bit of money here and there with a few business ventures. Brief stint working for the government. Retired early thanks to my investments. I mean, it looks like it, buddy. But I'm real good with money. Managing funds is one of the two things I'm good at, if you catch my drift. Well, despite being retired, I'm also plenty young. Griffins like myself can live for over 200 years, so over the last few decades, I've kept myself busy. Helped raise my nephews and nieces, for instance. Too many of my brothers remained in the military and, well, they ain't around anymore. So I was their dad kind of uncle. Since a single man like myself doesn't need much to survive, I helped them get into college. Real proud of my boys and girls. Now they're all grown up, so I'm back having adventures on my own, which is why I'm here. Gotta keep myself busy, don't want to go senile. For a while longer, Luke keeps telling you about the inescapable anxieties that come with aging. Let's check in on the R&D team. They made some progress, but no projects completed. Let's check in on the exploration team. No one was sent out to explore today. Later that night, the guests were enraptured by Cota and Luke's tales about the Forbidden Valley and its odd creatures. All of Asterion's unsightly connections to it were omitted, leaving space for exhortations of his and your talent as leaders. Neither did they mention Clement's betrayal, the expulsion of the former guests, the old staff's unknown fates, or Asterion's regrettable one. You and the Minotaur listened to it all from your table in the corner of the lounge. The guests' captivated gazes, so fixed they became heavy when altogether unpleasant. Thus the day came and passed. Sweet Mother Night and her son's sleep embraced the land and all its dwellers. But dawn slithered its way in, as it has since time immemorial. Rise now, my lord, and live again. And that is where we're going to end things for this video. It's nice to be back here at the Minotaur Hotel. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So we'll be doing them as we go along here. And as you see, there's one huge build to do. I won't be kind of go pipe build. I'll be doing them here and there. And trying to do most of these kind of ones where I have a lot to do. About once a month or so. Maybe once every 5 weeks. We'll see how things go. Because I'm never quite sure how things are going to go with updates. And speaking of updates, the smoke room, Nick's room, just got an update a few hours ago. So that will be next Saturday's video. We'll be back down the mines with Nick. No, I'm not talking about you. It's okay. My dog's looking at me now. It's nothing about you. No. It's the problem when you give your dog the same name as a character in the VN. And also, probably Tuesday, we'll be actually back in 2015 Echo. Just carrying on with Carl's route there, working slowly through my plan to do the entirety of Echo. So that's the next few days. And we will go from there. And just before I wrap things up here, as ever, I have to mention and thanks to Grizz, Evan King, David Taylor, The Beholder, Samuto, Ryan Hall, Anubis Silverwind, Ida Corval, Brandon Bradford, Bastion, Ark Huskerton, Marcus, Hopi, Gunnar Muller, Tiger Cub, Sindri Dragawolf, Dissonance, Besuksu, Cobus Vissa, and Kartek, who are my top supporters on Patreon, and thanks also to all my other supporters on Patreon. They're much appreciated. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, probably around Tuesday, my time anyway. Probably most of you will end up being Wednesday. We'll be back in 2015 Echo. And also I'm actually doing some plans for the next couple of months. So I have a rough idea what's going on. And if I can do it, I am actually going to drop in a couple of new VNs, which I won't mention yet. I haven't talked to anyone about doing them, but there are a couple I'm planning to do. And that's it for now. Till next time. Bye for now.